Welcome to the off-road assault on Mount Mitchell. This is one of the hardest mountain bike races in the country, at least in the southeast. I think they market it as the most exciting mountain bike race on the southeast. I camped in my car with my buddy Paul Welder right before this race, so lined up, woke up to a bunch of people pulling in the parking lot, and there was a lot of people at this race. There was close to 400 or 500 starters. Here we are going up a climb called Bernard, and this is one of the first trail segments of the race. Getting to this point was not easy. It kind of starts on like a paved segment, and you ride up that for a while. I obviously did not line up first because I never do. Sadly, my computer or my camera didn't really like the beginning, so I don't have that footage, but we went up this paved climb and it was pretty hard. We have some strong racers up here. First of all, we have Nathan, who is a pretty good mountain bike racer. He got like top 5, top 10 at Iceman. Excuse me. Not a mountain bike racer. I'm figuring it out. He got like top 10 at Iceman, and I know he's pretty strong, pretty good diesel guy. We get to the top, and I've already lost a little bit of pace to these guys in front. We have age group national champion in front of me, but to get to this point, it took roughly 13 minutes at 370 watts, which for me is like 20 watts under what I can do for an hour, roughly, normally. Today, that was not the case. It was a pretty hard effort for me today. I have not been training that much since doing a bunch of races, so it took a little off season and figured the best way to get back was a little bit of mountain bike racing. My first mountain bike race in 4 years, which I decided it'd be great to do the first one as a hard race. Go figure that. Anyway, we're going down Bernard. There's a lot of switchbacks. I can't figure out how to do these, so I'm losing pace to the guys in front. Eventually get caught by a few riders. We actually have Thomas Turner in this. He's kind of a legend in the mountain bike world, but guy behind me caught me, and let's see what Nick Bragg, actually. He was talking to me about the National Raccoon Association. If you don't know what that is, you should look him up. I started a little funny meme page about raccoons. And we're ripping off the National Rifle Association with some fun stickers. Anyway, Nick Bragg said he had heard about it, and we chatted a little bit. So, get to the bottom of Bernard, and it's a little spread out. But we're going up a climb called Kitsuma after this, so I have a little bit of time to catch back up. Let's talk about kind of what bike I'm riding while we're going down this. I'm borrowing a bike. This is a Specialized S-Works Evo 120 travel. Hit a tree there with my left pinky. That hurt pretty bad. I thought that was going to happen more often, but luckily it did not. So I get the Specialized down to the base here, take a right turn, and I've got Thomas Turner and Nick both on my wheel. So we start hitting it up this paved climb. I can kind of see Ethan Burns, the national champion of age group, up there. We eventually do catch those guys, and we come in to the base of Kitsuma all together, kind of. There's like 6 of us all together, and up front, Ethan actually got up there, started pushing the pace kind of hard. Nathan's on his wheel, and then right behind him we have Paul, and they're hitting it pretty hard. I was quite tacked out from the effort beforehand. I think going up Kitsuma, there's like a pretty hard climb, and we did roughly 15 minutes, and my average power for those 15 minutes was about 350 watts. So we get to Kitsuma here, and it is kind of a technical climb. Like, I saved a little bit, but in between on these little like flat sections, I was really having to let up on the gas and then just hit it to get up the more technical stuff. So I'm struggling. And I told Thomas he could go around if he wanted to. He happily did. Dude is on a hardtail, which this course is hard. I'm on a full suspension bike with like a lot of travel, and dude's doing it on a hardtail. I don't really know much about mountain bike, but that seems like extra difficulty. Although right here on the climb, maybe having a little less weight could have been good. Just a thought. Anyway, we get through the top Kitsuma, and I let Nick go ahead once we get up here because I'm cracked. So we're gonna get to the next thing. Go down the descent, which is actually a pretty technical descent. I pre-rode this descent the day before, and that's the footage we're gonna look at. So down this descent, it's pretty rough. You're on the brakes almost the whole time. I was on the brakes almost the whole time. I'm not a super skilled mountain biker, and I lost quite a bit of time to these guys. I probably lost like a minute down this descent. You're descending for, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes? It feels like a long time. My hands were cramping pretty bad. I know a few guys like stopped to like shake their hands out. I'm not running super big brake rotors or anything, and I'm not super confident going downhill on the mountain bike quite yet. So I'm pushing pretty hard here during the pre-ride, but during the actual race I was a little more cracked, so I let up a little bit more. You might notice right here on my wrist I have a watch. This is the EZON Focus R7 Surprise. There's an ad here. It's a pretty cool watch. They've got a lot of different profiles that you can use on the watch, and it does all the normal activity tracking. You can see your steps. It'll monitor your sleep. It's pretty cool. They've got an alright app, and they're not super expensive, so if you're thinking about getting an activity watch, this might be a pretty good one. Of note, they have like a weird feature in the app where you have to like kind of make it a smaller window, at least on Android. I'm on Android. I know a lot of people aren't going to be, but pretty cool watch, and it looks pretty good. We got to the bottom of Kitsuma. Paul was out in front here, followed by Ethan. After that, Nathan was right behind him. So they're all pretty close together. A little farther back was Nick and Thomas. I don't have a picture of Thomas down here, but they're all kind of jumping it. Here's me scrubbing it. I guess I was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes behind at the base of that into the next section.
Oh, man.
Roughly 30 miles in, we hit Gateway Trail, and I see in the distance something I wasn't expecting to see. I knew at this point I had like 2.5 minutes to the next guy, and we have Nathan Zerwick. I caught up to him. He was having a bad day. Started feeling a little rough, maybe a little sick. So I came past him, and next 42 miles in, we're at Star Gap. This is a pretty iconic trail. There is some tough stuff getting up to this, and you have to go up some weird hard switchbacks, and now the descent, a bunch of switchbacks downhill, not too crazy, but you get to this point, which is kind of the heckler spot. There is a weird rock portion. I took the middle and then was careful not to go over that ledge. So the race continues. I am pretty far behind these guys, but I'm going to do the best I can to catch up. There is a railroad crossing, which is pretty wild on Star Gap here, and then you just kind of continue onto a road section. At the feed zone, I swapped out. I had 2 bottles on, lost a bottle in Bernard, got another bottle, or I got 2 bottles at the feed zone and then swapped packs. I was wearing a hydration pack for this, and I did not have enough water. This day was super hot, and I went through all the water, went through a bunch of gels. I've been using carbs fuel gels. I went through like 8 carbs fuel gels and then 2 like little scratch tabs or scratch blocks. Up at the front, we have Paul Vroenwelder. Then we have Ethan and Thomas Turner. And then behind him was Nick. And then right behind Nick, I was catching up, which was pretty cool. Nick had a little bit of a cramp, so I'm just going to keep pedaling on this ascent here and go as fast as I can to try and catch up to everybody up front. Eventually I did catch up to Nick, on the road climb here, and then he hopped onto my wheel while we went into Kitsuma for the final time. My legs were cramping really bad at this point too. I actually had to pedal with one foot on this just to stretch out a cramp, so day was rough. So it was up Kitsuma that second time that I realized I had broken my left pedal. The little bolt had come out of the Shimano pedal, and the latching mechanism in the front had just angled, so I couldn't clip into one side of my pedal, which was a little annoying, especially when I would hop off and hop back on, but continued down Kitsuma. I had Nick on my wheel at the beginning of that climb, halfway through the little technical section of the trail to Kitsuma. He fell off. I think his legs were feeling pretty rough, but I continued on and went down as fast as I could. I actually stayed within 2 or 3 seconds. It's a 5-minute descent. I stayed within 2 or 3 seconds of my other time, the first time I went down Kitsuma, so went a little faster. I wasn't pedaling quite as hard, so was learning to ride the mountain bike as I continued doing it, which was pretty exciting, getting a little more used to this bike. I have DB8 brakes on this thing, which is like the mineral oil brakes from SRAM, and then I had like a mechanical group set. I just put a bunch of parts on this thing that I found at Ken's bike shop. Thanks to those guys for letting me rummage through their bins at the shop. It is not the first time I've ridden a Specialized Epic, but it is a pretty cool bike, nice carbon bike. Thank you to Sierra for letting me borrow her bike. It says Princess Sierra on the side, which I thought was pretty funny. I had some Nox wheels on here, first time riding carbon wheels off-road, another little exciting thing. And then got down to the base of Kitsuma, jumped off, not a lot to go here, so pretty stoked to be done with this race at this point. After Kitsuma, it was a pretty easy little road section downhill into the base. I was still running, kind of scared because I didn't know how close Nick was behind, but got through to the finish line in a time of 5 hours and 17 minutes, which pretty alright for my first time at ORAMM. I was stoked to finish. At the front was Paul Brownwelder in a time of 4 hours and 58 minutes. Then Ethan Burns in 5 hours and 6 minutes, and Thomas Turner 5 hours 12 minutes roughly. I got fourth, Nick just behind me, roughly 2 minutes behind, so that was a pretty tight race. 62 miles ish. Pretty hard adventure through the mountains of North Carolina during the off-road assault on Mount Mitchell. Thank you to Ryan, the event promoter, for having me out. Pretty cool event. See ya.